Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to math. Today we're going to wrap up a little bit of complex numbers. Okay. Last class we learned about rectangular form of a plus bi. Okay, real number plus imaginary number. Today we're going to continue that part. Okay. Today we're going to convert from rectangular form to polar form. Okay. Polar form looks something like this. The answer equals r cosine theta plus I sine theta. Okay? You might ask yourself, how do we do that? Okay, how do we go from rectangular form to polar form? The first things first. Okay? R, think of always as your radius. Okay? Since we're dealing with radius, we're always dealing with sine and cosine. We're dealing with the unit circle, okay? Which means that from our previous concept, in order to solve for r, we had to do a specific equation. The equation was r equals a squared plus b squared, okay? In order to solve for r. In order to solve for, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let's start by finding r. So our problem is, we have a point at 3 and 4, okay? So our point is at 3 and 4. So if we graph that, it's going to look something like this. Okay, obviously we have our line, okay, theta. We know that the bottom is 3. We know our height is 4. Our r is our radius. So we have to find r, okay, to complete this first part, okay, to leave it in polar form. Okay, to leave it in rectangular form, we pretty much have our numbers already. If you guys remember from the previous concept, we can say z equals 3 plus 4i. Okay, that's the very first part. We have to find the r, because the r is the outside. Okay, so in order to find this r, we have to plug in your a and your b, which a is your real number, b is your imaginary number. So we can say r equals radical of 3 squared plus 4 squared equals r radical, okay, of 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. So r equals radical of 25, which r equals 5. Okay? Now that we have our r, okay, and we have our point, we have our rectangular form, okay? All we have to do now is, all we have to do is, in order to solve for this angle here, okay, whatever theta is at, we're going to use tangent, okay? If you guys remember that previous words of so, cot, to, okay, which is opposite over adjacent, okay? Since theta is here, this is the opposite, 3 is the adjacent. So tangent of 4 over 3, okay, because remember, opposite over adjacent. If we type it into our calculator, tangent of 4 over 3, we get, let me do the radians version of it. shift menu, go with radians, chord, which we do the opposite, shift, tangent, 0.023. We get approximately degrees. Shift tangent, which is 4 divided by 3, 25.32 degrees. Okay, or 25.32. Okay. Shift tangent, 4 divided by 3. Yep, 4.22. Alright, now that we have 4.32 as our problem or as our number, we can actually plug it in. Okay? This is the number for cosine, and it's also the number for sine. Okay? So we're going to go from this to C equals R, which in this case is 5. Okay? Parentheses, cosine of theta, which is 25.32, plus I sine of 25.32. Okay? And that is it. We converted from rectangular form to polar form. Okay? Keep in mind, guys, use tangent, okay? Because we don't know what the radius is. Unless you find the radius, you could have used the radius if you wanted to, okay, for it as well. But then instead of tangent, you would have to use sine or cosine, depending on what the number was, okay? But since I gave you pretty much tangent already on all the problems I gave you from the previous class, okay? I want you guys to convert the ones from the previous class, since you already did this first part, the rectangular form, okay? All you have to do is continue those same problems from last class and convert them into, going from rectangular form, now you're going to convert it to polar form, okay? So make sure you submit your answers as soon as you're done watching the video, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Make sure you have all your notes. Alright, guys. So again, all you have to do is find the radius, okay, from the point I gave you, okay? We're going to go from rectangular form to polar form. Find the radius. Once you find the radius, use tangent, okay, to find the degree of the angle. And then all you have to do is, for cosine theta and sine theta, use whatever you get as your answer for tangent of the two numbers you use. And that's it. Alright. Alright, guys, make sure you submit your answers as soon as you're done watching the video. And I'll be here waiting for your email.